So the Fremont factory has been reopened last Monday and is now ramping up production again. Regarding the Tesla Gigafactories, there's so much happening, just insane. So it seems that now there are only 2 contenders left for the future Cybertruck Giga, or better, Terafactory. And the Model Y factory expansion at Giga Shanghai is just progressing at breakneck speeds. And lastly, could it be that Giga Berlin is actually progressing faster than Giga Shanghai? What?
And still on the topic of Tesla, it seems that price parity of electric cars with ICE cars will be here much sooner than expected. Then of course let's also talk about the completion of the Las Vegas boring tunnels and their future plans. And then lastly, of course, our almost customary look over to air taxis and hyperloop. The Air Force is getting into air taxis and the Missouri Hyperloop passed an important milestone. A lot to talk about as always, so stay tuned.
So now that the epic battle between Elon and Alameda County has concluded with a, we'd say, win for Tesla, the Fremont factory is ramping up production. Last week, operations were slightly above the minimum level, but this week, the factory is starting to ramp up again. Until by the end of May probably, the Fremont factory will be running at normal capacity again. But it's really sad that Elon had to take such aggressive measures in order for this to happen. How can it be that Ford and GM were allowed to reopen, and Tesla would have been the last car maker being allowed to do so? We suspect foul play at work here, and once again re-emphasize that Elon is doing the right thing. All necessary precautionary measures have been taken at the Fremont factory. All lessons learned from Giga Shanghai, so that all workers will be as safe as possible. So yes, the mainstream media is again trying to paint Elon as the evil guy, when in fact GM and Ford have already reopened. Anyways, we think that Elon will proceed moving more and more operations away from California to Nevada and Texas over the next years. Because now it has basically been confirmed that Texas is the prime candidate for the future Cybertruck Terafactory.
Because it has been reported that Tesla had been scouting an area near the city of Austin, Texas in the last weeks. We have to say this is really cool because we've been to Austin last year and it's really a great city. Aside from this strange cricket invasion, which unfortunately also took place exactly when we were there, that was pretty gross. Okay, and there might have been a few homeless people here and there, which also was not so nice to see, you know. But the Mexican food was sure great and the people were extremely friendly. And Austin offers a lot of great talent, lots of highly skilled people from the fast-growing tech industry. Despite some flaws, it's really a great city and would be a great location for the future Cybertruck, Semi and battery production Terafactory. And the other contender still in the game appears to be the city of Tulsa in Oklahoma. We remember that they have a really big field there, and Tulsa seems surely also like an interesting city. We have to say Tulsa sounds cooler than Austin because, you know, Conan, Tulsa Doom and so on, you know. But okay, that probably shouldn't play a role in choosing the future site. So we soon will know for sure which site will be chosen, but we have the feeling that it will be Austin. It's just too tempting with all the tech industry already established there, you know? And it's nearer to Boca Chica, of course. And Tesla would therefore also be able to hire away lots of high quality people from Facebook and Google. And meanwhile in China, the Model Y extension for Giga Shanghai is progressing as always at breakneck speeds. This edition should be finished by the end of the year, so that in early 2021 we will see production start of the Chinese-built Model Y. This will be insane, we tell you. A Chinese-built Model Y will sell like hotcakes over there. Like hotcakes. It will boost Tesla's revenue immensely.
And lately we saw an interesting comparison between Giga Berlin and Giga Shanghai. Could it be that we have been actually too pessimistic on Giga Berlin? Could it be that our hatred against German bureaucracy, which has also made our personal lives very difficult at times, believe us? Could it be that this hatred has blinded us to see the truth? namely that Giga Berlin is actually progressing faster than Giga Shanghai, as Tobias Lind has shown in this graph here. According to this comparison, Giga Berlin would actually be 2 months ahead of Giga Shanghai. What kind of wizardry is this? But okay, maybe we have been too pessimistic and have been wrong. Tobias Lind also showed us some pictures of piling already going on as late as 8:30 p.m. He said that night shifts might happen since generators with light had been installed. We can also see the piling machine on these cool aerial drone shots by Tesla kid Quinn Hyde. Our favorite kid, by the way, right up there with the Karate Kid. So yeah, we really hope that we were wrong and that Giga Berlin is still right on track to open by summer 2021. If yes, we will open a bottle of champagne for the opening ceremony.
So back to Giga Shanghai, it seems that Tesla's CATL produced battery could be actually really cheap. According to some reports, CATL's latest iteration of low cobalt batteries could be as cheap as $80 per kilowatt hour. Remember that price parity with ICE cars would already be achieved by the magical $100 per kilowatt hour figure. So getting already now below that number is really epic. This new low-cost battery will be built into the China-made Model 3s later this year. And apparently these batteries could have a second life as batteries for the electric grid. Hopefully we'll soon learn more on Tesla's upcoming battery day. We expect some epic announcements, namely large-scale production of batteries by Tesla themselves, implementing Maxwell's dry electrode fabrication for battery densities of 300 watt-hours per kilogram and $100 per kilowatt-hour. Directly produced by Tesla on a massive scale, ramping to the terawatt-hour range in the coming years. Everything is right on track for electric cars to become cheaper than gasoline or diesel cars very soon, we estimate in 2 years at the latest, further accelerating the death of the gasoline car. We've said it and we'll say it again. By 2030, it will be extremely difficult to even be able to buy a gasoline or diesel car. The power of the exponential growth curve for electric car adoption will far surpass everything we could have imagined. So yes, Tesla Battery Day will indeed be epic and we can expect some pretty wild announcements.
What's also epic is the completion of the boring tunnels at the Las Vegas Convention Center, ready to open for CES 2021. And of course, the whole plan foresees a much larger network, connecting the strip up north to the Fremont Street experience, and south down to the McCarran Airport. There's also an arrow that points to Los Angeles. Now that would be freaking epic. But let's hope that this will turn out to be not only a boring tunnel, but a hyperloop tunnel. Anyways, we are super hyped for the Las Vegas boring tunnel network. Las Vegas might prove that the boring tunnels will not only work, but are also reliable and safe, thus pushing other cities to also implement this technology. We certainly hope so, because we want to see as many modes of transportation as possible. By the way, at first, passengers of the boring tunnels will sit in Teslas, probably Model X's, and commuted by a driver at the convention center. Later, Teslas will of course be able to autonomously drive in the tunnels. And also later, we will have larger pods based on a modified Tesla chassis, transporting more people at once. Epic stuff! We already liked Vegas when we were there last year, and the city just continues to get cooler and cooler by the year.
Another mode of transportation we always like, as you know, are air taxis. And it turns out that the Air Force shares our love for air taxis. The Air Force recently launched Agility Prime, a non-traditional program seeking to accelerate the commercial market for advanced air mobility vehicles. Through this program, the Air Force is, quote, leveraging unique testing resources and revenue-generating government use cases for distributed logistics and disaster response. The government plans to mitigate current commercial market and regulatory risks. Agility Prime also aims to bring together industry, investors, and government communities to establish safety and security standards while accelerating commercialization of this revolutionary technology. Sounds excellent to us. So in other words, they want to accelerate regulatory approval and establish industry partnerships and accelerate funding, all towards the goal of getting air taxis and VTOLs in general flight ready by 2023 in most parts of the US. In this video here, they describe VTOLs, which they call orbs, probably because it sounds cool. We are glad that the Air Force is getting behind this, because China isn't sleeping and the first commercial air taxi service is being built right now as we speak in the city of Hezhou in China. If we don't want China to be the world leader in air taxis, then faster regulation is what we need in the West, and the Air Force certainly will be able to accelerate that process. Another mode of transportation which we find awesome is of course Hyperloop. And it seems that Hyperloop has passed an important milestone in Missouri. We remember that Missouri had proposed a Hyperloop connection between St. Louis, Columbia and Kansas City along the highway I-70.
This bill will give the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission the authority to form a public-private partnership to build this Hyperloop track. Supporters of the Hyperloop track are now advocating for a test track to be built in Missouri. The cost of the final Hyperloop track is estimated to be around $10 billion. But hey, the San Francisco to Los Angeles high-speed railway is estimated to cost $77 billion. So yeah, Hyperloop would be 8 times cheaper and also faster. While this bill passing the Senate certainly doesn't 100% guarantee that the Hyperloop track will be built soon, it certainly paves the way for a test track to be built in the next few years. Hopefully progress on Hyperloop in the other parts of the world, such as in the UAE, will convince the Missouri legislators that Hyperloop will indeed work. And next week on Wednesday, we will finally release our long video debunking many Hyperloop misconceptions and many wrong arguments against Hyperloop, mainly as a response to the naysayer videos, such as the one from Thunderfoot. Hopefully we will be able to show that Hyperloop is absolutely feasible, and we are really looking forward to it.
So what do you think about the upcoming Battery Day? What is Tesla going to reveal?
And do you think that we have been too pessimistic on Giga Berlin, and it might really be finished by next year?
We would be happy to be wrong. So you just watched the JS Disruption Report, which we do every Wednesday, where we give you our honest opinions about the most recent developments in disruptive technologies.
So thanks for watching, and I'd say, on to the future! Your favorite part?
So, the famous disruption report part. I always forget this part.
So now just watch the disruption report where we tell you our honest opinions.
Jetzt.